All right, W podcast in the chat. W pod. Here we are. Tarqaron Podcast back at it
Yeah,
again.
in our live chat that we're totally.
You're lighting up the chat down there. I see you
Lighting it up.
and I hear you. I hear you.
Damn!
I
Look at all
respect it.
5,000 viewers that we have right now. Oh,
That's
hey,
right.
getting rowdy down there. Oh.
Calm down in the chat. Calm down in the chat. We'll get to you at the end of the show.
That's weird. Anyway,
so the Tarqaron Podcast is a monthly podcast turned semi-monthly, turned monthly again, perhaps.
Maybe
we're
we'll
kind
see.
of back on the wagon. You never know where this boy's gonna take you. We're just on the ride for now. All right. And in this podcast, we talk about whatever we don't think really constitutes a full video, whatever we want to talk about, and then we at the end we'll talk about what videos we released and read your comments. All right, that's how the podcasts go. All right,
How it do.
Basically, whenever we have spare time, we'll throw in a random segment where we just randomize out a little list of topics. All right, in the spirit of Chaos Month, which we did once upon a time. The Chaos Pod.
I'd like to do that again sometime, maybe. You know, that's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, Chaos Year. Who's ready for Chaos Year?
that's a little too much.
Every decision's out of our hands.
Yeah,
it's like you take a list of the movies that are coming out that year, and we randomize what ones we didn't get to watch.
Yeah,
like damn, there was a really good one there. Oh man, we don't get to watch that one. Okay.
Nope. That'd be horrible.
We should say at the start of the show to shout out our friend Pete Dorr, who.
Yes, yeah, I think we should probably address that first and foremost.
Recently went through a heart attack, right?
Yeah, so he updated on all his socials, probably through. I'm not sure like what his primary means of communication was for that, but it got posted pretty much everywhere. His Discord, his Twitter, and YouTube. But yeah, Pete had a heart attack about a week ago now. It was back on the. Let's see if I should call the post up right now. But yeah, it was about it's a YouTube community post.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I think it was sort of communicated. So it was 5 days ago as of the time of recording. So it'll be a little over a week ago by the time we put this out. Yeah, he had a heart attack. 37. I guess he had like 100% blockage of his LAD. Don't remember that's something artery. I don't remember what that is. Basically, like one of the most important arteries of your heart.
Right.
And he could have died had he not gone and got it looked at like right away. So yeah, he's got recovery to do. That's all we've really heard was just that.
Yeah.
You know, because he
said he kind of implied it's a big wake up call for him. You know, it's like for us, he's got to make big changes health wise. So.
Yeah. So, and I'm not really sure all that's involved with that because like, you know, maybe it is just like more activity. Like I don't know. He does go on walks. He's actually on his channel. He would go on walks and just like talk and do stuff during that because he's not like an overweight kind of guy. So, you know, like a heart attack like that at 37 is very like that. It is concerning or whatever's going on. You know,
yes.
I know I particularly like I have a family history of high blood pressure. So, I'm also like, I'm not like huge, but like I put on some weight over the years and that's something that I myself I'm going to have to be more cognizant of as time goes on here as I continue to age myself. But
it's definitely something to be mindful of. As for me too, I mean, I gained a lot of weight over the last couple of years for sure. I mean, you can even look on the channel. All my stuff is just documented there for the world to see. You can see, like, look at this tiny guy on this one. But yeah, I have a lot of changes that need to be made for my health too, and that's definitely big.
Yeah.
That's a wake up call for everybody to see. You know, it's definitely a good reminder. Like, you're not immune from everything, no matter what your age is. You know.
Yeah. So it's like health is something that you need to take. You do need to take seriously. So well, I mean, but we have had Pete on a couple of times on the channel.
Yeah, two-time guest, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I don't personally know him particularly well. I've been a fan of his content for pretty much as long as I've been active on YouTube. The 2010 probably 2011 with the All Gen Gamers sort of stuff. But he's somebody that I at least consider to at least whatever degree a friend, and so that is something where, definitely gonna be keeping thoughts, keeping prayers for sure. Just show him support whenever he's fit to come back and be ready to do so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because one of the things in that post too was that he was like, I can't really read any messages right now because I have to stay calm. Which is understandable when it's a heart related issue. You gotta take it easy. So we might not hear from him for a while. It's a hard
thing to do, isn't it? It's like stay calm. Make sure I'm sure I'm calm.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Am I not calm enough? Yeah.
I mean, like,
about how calm you are.
A few years back, I had a concern. I had like a little bit of a concern with my heart. It was just like it ended up not being anything. Like it might have been a misattribution of something.
Turned out to be heartbreak, and that's equally as
that does suck. Yeah. But it might have been some palpitations of some kind. It didn't end up being anything ultimately. It's not Palpatine, but palpitations. My heart.
Yeah, unlimited power. Oh yeah.
This is wrinkly as me. But I mean, it's something that like I'm definitely like a lot more cognizant of. But it's like, it's like the take deep breaths, stay calm, and it's like a lot of it becomes like psychological.
Yeah, make sure you're breathing right like, too.
Yeah.
Don't breathe too quickly.
Now I'm thinking about that again. I'm thinking about breathing. So now I have to. But
whatever you do, don't stress about breathing.
You can feel your tongue right now. Yep. So because even a couple weeks ago I fell, and what was this? Yeah, it was just about 2 weeks ago now. I fell and like hit my chest. So at work, I injured myself because I like landed on a window frame, like kind of like right here, and that was one of those things where, I was convinced I didn't know what it was because it was it was pretty painful, and I was like, I don't know what happened, but this could be a break, and if it's not, it's something I could exacerbate. So it's like I just keep thinking about it, and then I'm like over the weekend I'm like, okay, well I need to take time off. I need to either go on light duty or something needs to happen where I need to figure this out. So I was able to get it kind of taken care of and handled by basically reporting it and all that, and basically going through the whole process of reporting it and maybe getting workers' comp or whatever, light duty, whatever. All that fun stuff. And one of the things that I was wanting was okay, well, I think they need to I need to get an x-ray because I want to know definitively, is this a break or not? That's, to me, it's that's one of the things that I'm fixated on, and I can't think about anything else. I could just think about the pain, and it's is it a break, is it not? And eventually they were like, no, we're not really getting an x-ray. We're this is muscular. We're really sure of that. If it doesn't improve in 3 days, then we can go get an x-ray at that point. And I was like, well, great.
If it fucking pleases you, then we'll do it.
Yeah. Basically, it was sort of that. And I was like, great, cool. That didn't answer my question at all. But then 2 days later, I started feeling better. So I was like, okay. They were probably right.
Good thing I've always thought about with medical things is if you feel some sort of pain or anything, just ignore it and don't even seek help. Usually it'll just work itself out, and
it'll just go away.
It's better to just not. It's too much effort to go get help, and when's that ever helped anybody? So that's my philosophy in life.
When's seeing a doctor ever helped or saved anyone?
Exactly, right?
You know,
Other
than Pete Dorr, who it literally saved his life the fact that he went to the emergency room.
Well, all our love to Pete Dorr. I mean,
yeah,
he's not like a podcast every other week type of thing, but he was gracious with his time on those two. He said he was open to coming back, whatever, you know. And obviously, we never would have met if it weren't for him. The forum, Peace Gamer Forum, is where I met the whole community that we have on Discord now, and so big ripple effect just from a singular Pete Dorr, and he's one of the earliest channels I subscribed to, also just some YouTube period. So big butterfly effect if there's no Pete Dorr in the world, you know.
It was really nice to see both Johnny and Gamester and Jason all kind of like send well wishes to Pete as well. You know, they each posted on their own socials about it, just making sure their own audiences were aware of it too. So, you know, they all don't really talk a whole lot anymore, just based on what I know. They'll occasionally they'll cross paths and say hey and such, but you know, it's kind of one of those things where it's like they all have a lot of different things going on in their own lives. You know, Johnny's raising a little girl, and he's got his own YouTube thing going on up in Vancouver. Gamester runs like game conventions now. Jason still has his music stuff, and he's still doing a lot of his own stuff as well. I don't know if he does Twitch streaming much anymore, but he definitely has his own stuff going on. And then Pete is streaming, you know? So it's like they all have their own sort of things happening. And Metal Jesus. Actually, no, I didn't necessarily see a post from him. I should tune in. I hope he was made
real
aware.
Quiet on Metal Jesus' end. He's on
Well, I hope he was aware. He was made aware, because
I didn't even know that all of them made comments. That it wasn't dialed in there. But I actually have it right here. I had brought it up before on you can't see it because I didn't white balance this. It looks like it's an empty page. And it's a note from Pete Dorr from 2011.
Wow.
2011 PAX East. Thanks for watching and keep up your passion and love for video games. Smiley face.
Yeah, I have I had him sign my manual of the Dark Spire because it was a game that I heard him talk about a ton. And it encouraged me to pick it up, and so I was like, this has got to be the game. He's got to sign the manual of the Dark Spire.
And even if we watch Pete Dorr now, he'll always be like a nostalgic thing to me also. I mean, obviously, he's like, All Gen Gamers was a big thing for a lot of us, and like old school Pete Dorr YouTube videos, you know, there's just a warmth to it. There's a coziness, so absolutely.
Big best wishes, speedy recovery to Pete. You know, really going to be keeping him in thought and prayer for sure. So, because stuff like that, I mean, it's, you know, that's all up to factors beyond any of our control, and it's just, I guess, up to him figuring things out. So best wishes on all that.
Absolutely. With that being said, I think we should get into some gaming talk. And it's become a bit of a tradition for the podcast now as we update our ongoing year-long backlog challenge. I think we should come up with a name for it moving forward. Like, you know, I was thinking, like, what could we call it? Backlog Busters, or
and that's a great name, and that is the name that I used on the radio show that became a very short-lived podcast of mine and my friend Chris.
Nice.
That was the name we used, was Backlog Busters.
So. What we used on our one challenge on Hey Listen was Bite My Backlog. How about
I remember that.
Whatever that is.
I remember that, yeah.
But I already have an idea. I guess we can talk about it afterwards, but I already have an idea for maybe a better way to do the challenge next year if we do it again. But
okay, keep that under wraps, but you know, stick in your pocket though.
Oh, so you don't want me to bring it up?
Oh, I
Highly
mean,
confidential.
unless you wanted to.
Yeah.
Unless you wanted to.
No, I'll bring it
I
up.
do. If you want to bring it up,
I'll bring it
we can
up.
talk about it. Sure.
But so if you don't know what the challenge is, it's something we did in the very first podcast of the year, where we each got a list of 10 games for ourselves to beat, and then 5 games for the other person to beat. And you get 1 point for every game you beat on your list of 10, 2 points for every game on the list of 5 that the other person gave for you. So whoever has the most points at the end of the year will be crowned Tarqaron's best gamer and be awarded a trophy from the other person. Okay? And we have our list of games. We'll talk about any progress made, and then we can refresh on what the rest of our lists are moving forward too. All right, so what you got? I've been seeing you on the PlayStation activity. I've been seeing you on there.
Yep. Well, I beat Bloodborne, so I started playing it again for the Return to Yharnam, which happens towards the end of March. It's for the anniversary of the game's release, and I beat it late April. Yeah, it was literally the last day of April. I beat it. And not only beat it, I got the platinum trophy for it. So I was pretty thrilled about that. I
put so many hours into that, didn't you?
I did. It's hard to track because I've started and stopped that game like 3 or 4 other times. So it's hard to say like with the PSN kind of keeps track of your hour count.
Yeah.
Pretty well on the PlayStation 5, but it's kind of hard. It's kind of skewed. I don't know like how accurate it is, but I probably put 60 to 70 hours in probably playing it this time. Might have been more than that.
Okay.
It was quite a lot of time. I mean, I was playing it a lot. I played it after work. I made a point to try to like really be playing it as much as I kind of could. And especially as I was thinking for a while, I was like, I'm gonna go for the platinum trophy. I know there's a way to sort of save scum if I upload my save data and then turn off auto updating for the cloud save. That was kind of the way to be able to. So it's like, okay, I upload the cloud save, like make sure that I have the one like right before the final boss, and then because essentially like decisions that you make and like items that you have and you've done stuff with is what determines the ending, can determine the ending you get. So if you like don't do anything with these special items, then that's one ending. If you or like one of the decisions you make, if you don't do anything with, then if you say no, then that's one ending. If you say yes, that's one ending. And then if you say yes, and then also have done something with these items, that's another ending. So that's the 3 endings of the game. So normally you have to play through the game 3 times, but if you just, before the final boss, if you just have that as a cloud save, then you can access that cloud save, re-download that save after you've beaten it, and then do that. So I did that to get that. But the real challenge is actually the one that's related to the Chalice dungeons, which were close to breaking me at a couple of points, just because of how difficult of a challenge it really is to do. But I did it. I was able to get through it, and now I don't ever have to do those dungeons again. And whenever I replay the game, I can just replay the game because it's a ding dang masterpiece, and I can just have fun, and I don't have to worry about ever doing that ever again. So, yeah. So but that's one. I've got a point now. We're tied. We're tied, I believe, unless you haven't any updates in that regard.
Yeah, we are tied, but I'm knocking on the door of another point right now. So
I am too. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth again.
Now that you put a lot of time into, right?
I've also been putting tons of time into that too. So when I was on light duty, I only had to do like a certain amount of hours of work a day because they're just like, yeah, we're not expecting you to sit at your computer for 8 hours. You're just like, you don't have to do that. So I put time into that on those days where I had light duty, like quite a lot of time on those days. So what I did with that, I felt like So back when I was playing it in like January, February, I was putting tons of time into it to try to beat it before like the March 8th deadline, which is like that's when the concert was. So I was still trying to do like most everything in the game. Like I wasn't like hardcore, like I have to do everything. Particularly as it was getting towards the end of the deadline, I was like, okay, I can't spend any time on these side quests. I'll come back to them later, I guess. Like when I with chapter select, I'll come back and do those. But I got like really kind of close to the end of the game, probably within like 5 hours of the ending, and then like I was in like the second to last chapter. The last chapter is basically just like the final boss, pretty much. But then I was like, well, now I don't have a time limit to it. I kind of want to go back and like do all those things, but my save point was kind of was after the point of no return. So I'd have to like beat the game and then go back and do those things. I was like, well, I don't really want to do that because like if I'm gonna like going back and replaying this game, it's gonna be on hard mode probably.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not gonna happen anytime soon because this game is already pretty difficult, I would say, even on like the normal mode. It does require particularly some of like the optional battles and stuff do require like some experimentation and kind of in-depth knowledge of the battle system. Hard mode requires that like even more so. So I'm like that platinum might be maybe not unobtainable, but that's going to be like a long ways down the road, I think. But I was like, well, I want to see what I can do. I want to try to get more trophies, and I want to just like see more of the game. I want to do some of the quests that I accidentally just now have locked myself out of. And I came across like the save that I had to like do, where I had to go back to was like kind of in an unfortunate spot where it's like I had to redo a couple things that were sort of like difficult and annoying before I could like be free to explore the world again and do all the quests that I didn't do. So I did that, and I've just been kind of doing side quests and stuff before I go back and beat the game. So, yeah, but that's been really fun. I mean, this game it's so good. It's like I really am. My list is kind of like oops, all bangers. like this game this is easily my game of the year last year. I don't even have to play most of the other ones. Astrobot, I'm sure it's amazing. I'm sure I'm gonna love it. I'm sure I'm gonna adore it. I'm sure I'm gonna think it's an amazing, fantastic, phenomenal 10 out of 10 platformer. But like Rebirth is just like it's amazing, and I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's like one of the best Final Fantasy games ever made, and that's a tall order. You have, the original 7. So, yeah. Right. It's been good. It's good stuff. And I've also been playing Power Wash Simulator because I
saw that.
I got a physical copy of it, and like one of my housemates was like Power Wash Simulator, and I was like, hell yeah, dude! And I popped it in, and then I started playing it, and I was like, oh no, 3 hours went by, and that's
gonna cost you in this challenge. That Power Wash Simulator.
It might cost me in this challenge because I'm just having too much fun just power washing, man. It's been good stuff.
You gonna hit up Shrek Swamp?
Absolutely, someday when I buy it. But.
That's right. I'm one episode away from beating Telltale's The Walking Dead: A New Frontier. All right.
Ooh.
I'm back to where I was previously, like a couple years ago when I first played it. I played the first 4 episodes and didn't do the last episode. So I played through the first 4 episodes now, and 1 episode away. All right. And so I'll have that finished within 2 days, probably.
Is that 3? Is that The Walking Dead 3?
Yeah.
Season 3?
And then also I'm 1 episode away from Life is Strange Before the Storm, which Life is Strange 2 is on my list, but I put that on knowing I'd have to beat Life is Strange Before the Storm before it. Right. And Captain Spirit is a little free thing too, which is annoying. I've now learned that you can't get it on PlayStation 5. You can only get it on PlayStation 4. What? You can't get it on the shop of PlayStation 5.
Why?
It's so weird. Yeah.
What the heck? That's bizarre.
Because I was happy to move on from my PS4 because it was starting to like glitch out on me, and it didn't work half the time. So now it's like, I don't know. Either I'll try to get it to work on there, or I'll like borrow my brother's or something. I don't know.
That's weird.
because I don't like.
It's weird.
Just for comprehensive sake, I want to be able to play that too. But
yeah.
So with that, like once I beat Before the Storm, I'm gonna try to tee up into Life is Strange 2, and hopefully knock that one out also. So
yeah.
So right now we're tied 1-1. Skyward Legends I had beat previously, and now Bloodborne. All right, but we're both close to another point. And so my strategy now is there's a couple weeks until next gen's challenge. I'm trying to squeeze in a couple of these smaller ones, see if I can, and then hopefully the gen's challenge will lend itself to let me play more of them. We'll see. But it might be pivotal. These 2-pointers might come in clutch to make a big swing at some point. If we can have this back and forth, or I want to give myself a bit of a cushion. I'd like to like pull ahead and get out and just like remove all tension from the race. Get me points ahead. We'll see. So on my list of my 10 that I picked for myself, I have Resident Evil 4 on the PlayStation 5, Sandland, The Witcher 3, The Walking Dead: A New Frontier, Life is Strange 2, Dragon Quest 9, Kingdom Hearts 2, Ni no Kuni, and a Call of Duty game. And on the 5 that you picked for me for 2 points, Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, Yooka-Laylee, Final Fantasy 7, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Final Fantasy 13. So that's what I'm looking at. So it'll be interesting because by the time we come back next month, a new Gens challenge will be afoot. We'll see if those games are relevant to the challenge, and probably some more scoreboard updates by then. Well, what you got?
For me, the 10 games to finish list is Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Final Fantasy 16, Bloodborne, which I beat, Cyberpunk 2077, Ghost of Tsushima, Hogwarts Legacy, Yooka-Laylee, Stellar Blade, Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit and Labyrinth, and Stray. And then the ones from you, Bug Fables, Mass Effect, Baldur's Gate 3, Astrobot, and Sea of Stars.
Is Baldur's Gate 3 happening?
So my Sunday night group has been a little bit. It's been upended a little bit. I don't know.
It's been a bit of a coup, and we're trying to work out the leadership.
Well. So my friend Tara's been going through a lot of stuff in her personal life. She was letting me know a little bit what's going on. There's just like some complicated stuff going on, and so she's. I don't know. I don't necessarily know if that's like everything that's happening. If that's like all the details. She kind of vague on a little bit of it. I don't know if some of that has been kind of some of the reason why we haven't really been playing much on Sundays. But yeah, I mean, that is the goal. That is the next goal after we beat V Rising, which we're like really close to the end of the year. We're probably like 2 gameplay sessions away from beating that. So after we do that, we were going to go and play Baldur's Gate 3. So I don't know. We'll see.
That's big. That's a guaranteed 2-pointer if you can get that.
Right? Yeah, it is. If we can get that in, I think it would be, even though I've said that I'd prefer it to be alone on my own, I think it would actually be a lot of fun to play it with them. So
yeah,
as a first time thing.
It's in the spirit of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, interesting. 1-1. The intense battle continues. 1-1 5 months in.
Well, I mean, it is a max of 20 points, I guess. So
that's right. 1 out of 20. 1 out of 20 each. 5 months in.
Hell yeah, that's a great record. That's great. Doing good here.
I want to come out swinging though. Like I've been very committed. Like I would do like 1 episode of Walking Dead one night, and the next night I do 1 episode of Life is Strange. So I've been playing them back and forth. So where now I'm 1 episode away in both. Be able to clean them up, and then
that is
hopefully transition right into Life is Strange 2 as well.
Yeah.
It's like maybe the Walking Dead final season, but it's not necessarily for this challenge, though. So we'll see.
Right. Well, it's not too bad, though. I mean, like, I also have the problem of, like, I just got Clear Obscure in the mail, which is, like, my most anticipated game of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not as long as most of these other RPGs. It's, like, only a 30-hour game or so. 30 to 40 hours, and it's like that's really tempting to hop in on and
Well,
play that.
you gotta follow your
you
passion,
know.
Alec, and I encourage you to
Yeah.
prioritize that game.
I'm sure you do. You want to win. Well, if my Gens Challenge idea goes through, that's easily going to end up on one of my lists. I mean, honestly, unless the theme is like extremely like it can't be this game.
Right. Usually, most themes nowadays will lend itself to pretty like some freedom on our part. So I mean, yeah. So I have like these couple of smaller ones. You know, The Walking Dead. Life is Strange 2 is actually double the length, apparently, of Walking Dead. I didn't know that. But still, relatively. And Call of Duty would be another short one. But Call of Duty is kind of my hack for Gens challenges as well. I was thinking, like, I could probably beat Call of Duty before the next challenge. But then I was thinking, well, that's my cushion to kind of almost guarantee that the games I get are for this challenge. Because otherwise, there's going to be gaps. There's not enough games to fill the whole thing.
That's right.
So that's interesting. Maybe I'll keep them in there until I get them as a cushion. Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories I had dabbled in briefly. You know, I wasn't enamored by it, but hopefully I can get back to that, because otherwise, like, Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably not going to happen until I get through that. So, and that would be a 2-pointer. Come on.
Yeah.
Gotta get these 2-pointers in.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah. And I got that assigned last time, so I could have had 3 points just from that one Gens challenge if I did that.
Yeah. How about that?
So what I was thinking for a potential different challenge we could do next year is Rusty did a similar thing to this on Otaku Brothers that they never actually resolved, so I was kind of like disappointed they didn't.
Oh yes,
I remember that. Yeah, last year, and then they didn't.
Kind of a bummer that they didn't resolve it. Yeah,
but it was like multiple different categories. It was like you could beat like 1 Switch game, 2 RPGs, 3 platformers, 4 games by Bethesda, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, structured like that, to where we could actually, you know, it's not like rigid throughout the whole year what games they are. We could actually, like, once we beat a game, we would have to lock in that it's being used for that category, and then you wouldn't be able to use it for anything else.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of fun, because then we wouldn't necessarily have to have the same games in the mix. You could switch them around. You know, if it's like you can beat an RPG, then you have all RPGs, or a game that's this long. Like maybe there's one that's like a short game, one's a long game, stuff like that. That could be fun.
Yeah, that's kind of that's similar in a way to Polykill Bingo,
mm-hmm.
Which is on that podcast. Our friend Blink on that podcast. From my understanding, I haven't listened to that many episodes, but from my understanding is that they have like categories for the bingo squares, and they're sort of
right.
They're vague in a way to keep it so that it's like, oh, it's like for this, it's like you have to finish a game that you started and dropped, or something like that, or
for sure
get a platinum in a game you've already beaten, you know, or something, you know, something that had to like fill out bingo squares essentially. So, yeah.
I think that's fun. That's a fun kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know how we would do if we would each bring in certain ones to contribute to it, or we would just fully collaborate and putting it together. I don't know. But yeah.
I do like the idea of that idea that you had, sort of that they did on Otaku Brothers, though.
Yeah.
But
because then, especially with how we do things, and we have Gens challenges every couple months, it's like, well, for this purpose of the challenge, my list's going to be the same. These selected games are always going to be on there at the very least each time, probably for the rest of the year. And
probably will happen for me too.
If we mix up the challenge, it could be like, well, we could just switch it up every time, and as long as they kind of help the challenge, so they could be cool. And there's a lot of fun different ways you could do it. Like even in the examples we made, it's like you could do it based on length, based on your prior experience with the game, or certain genre. different developer and stuff like that. Be cool. Just something to consider.
Yeah.
And but still plenty more of this challenge to go. And there's still a lot of awesome games on my list that I do definitely want to play. So
yeah, big time. Same for me.
It'll be interesting as time goes, as we get later in the year, to see how close the score is, and like we have to take some big swings potentially, because maybe the easier ones will be off the board at that point. But we'll see. I mean,
right. I got a lot of
one. We only got one each 5 months in, so I won't get my hopes up.
Right.
It'll be that, but
I've got a lot of really big games on my list. The thing is, it's like one of the really big games I've made a lot of progress in, so that's encouraging.
Yeah. Do you have any that you would eye up after, like if you say Jen's challenge out of the equation?
So 16 is going to be the next one after Rebirth. Easy. After that is very difficult to say.
But it's undeniable the Jen's challenge will have a big effect, especially if they picks these games. Like, I guess that's where we're going with.
I would say Stellar Blade, and I think Nikkei is going to be having a collab with that soon. I mean, it's the same developer, so it's kind of wild that they haven't had a collab yet, honestly. So that'll probably like encourage me to be like, oh, I want to play Stellar Blade because the Nikkei is having an in-game event with Eve or whoever else is going to be involved in it. So,
yeah.
So
that's the thing. My mind naturally goes to the ones that I picked for myself, but you get double the points if you go for these other ones. So I would probably push for some of these 2-pointers too.
Astrobot is just kind of like an inevitability. So I don't. That one's going to be one of those ones like easy. Like I can pick that up towards the end of the year I need to.
Don't fumble Astrobot.
I think that like something big like a Mass Effect or Bug Fables would probably be what I'd do next. I might try to go against type and just and try to do Mass Effect. I like it was because it was on my list it was my Jen's challenge list last time. I kind of want to like get into that game. I really want to kind of see what everything's all about. So
yeah, I would love to. Honestly, that's a game for me too. Like I beat Mass Effect 2 years and years ago, and then I never beat the original or 3. So I would love to play through all those games again. Well, for the first time and again, and that'd be fun because I did really love Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where I'm at. Walking to the New Frontier will be guaranteed finished by the next time. I'm hoping Life is Strange 2 will also be finished before next time. That's 2 points right there. Potentially a Call of Duty game, but I might hold that for the cheese. And yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 Chain of Memories is the only specific one I might try outside of the challenge. Otherwise, the challenge will guide me soon because it'll be a couple weeks from now. We'll have a new challenge. So
that's right.
And then we'll see where we go from there. I do want to say the Scholars Challenge, it'll be finished by the time this video comes out. But we literally got 3 days left. And there's only a few pairs in this. There's not that many people in the mix. But my pair with Mr. Kingdom Hearts Boy, we're the only ones who haven't finished one book, let alone both books. Everybody else has finished both books. Yeah. We haven't finished either of them. And we both have this book right here, The Fellowship of the Ring. Okay.
It's a beefy one.
It's
you look like you're pretty far along though.
Let's see what page. 285 out of 400. So
that's still doable.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to read this. My dream is that I'll finish this like tomorrow. Yeah. And then I will try my hardest to finish Ready Player 2 in 2 days. We'll see.
So the thing is like I love the Lord of the Rings books. You're in probably the most exciting part of that book anyways. Like the towards everything
good, yeah.
Basically you're out of like the boring parts of that book because you're out of like he's
drag.
Trust me, he still will go off and talk about trees and
talk about the bushes
all that
glistening in the
for a long time. But like you're out of the kind of the more difficult at this point in like in this era, the more difficult parts of the book to get through are definitely the earlier parts of the book.
Yeah, book 1.
It's super exciting. Yeah, book one can be a little tough to get through. It can be a little thick, but
It's very that's what I felt. It was like, because I imagined
book two
going
is
to
really
this,
exciting.
I'm like, I'm gonna breeze through these books. I'm like, damn, I'm stuck on. Making my way through this, and I feel like I'm sitting here for hours, and I'm like, 15 pages in.
I know that whenever I've read it, it's been the same thing for me too. But no, book two of Fellowship is really I love it. It's extremely exciting.
And I do wonder what, like, I just watched Fellowship of the Ring like for the first time since, like, kind of for the first time. Like, I probably watched it as a child, and I think I rewatched it a few years ago too, but it was kind of like still new to me. And so I kind of want to rewatch it and watch through the rest as well. But and then we'll see if I continue on with reading the books too. But yeah, this guy's long-winded. He's long-winded. He's just the most descriptive.
It's like, let me tell you about this bush.
And I don't know if I'm a bad reader. I've noticed about myself, like, I have a hard time just like actually picturing these specific details that authors, when they go into super specific, like I've completely just like glazed, like goes right over my head. I'm like, okay, so we're at a hill. That's all I got out of that. And it's probably pretty beautiful. I don't know. Meanwhile,
like I said,
there's this crevice here, and this amazing the peaks, the 3 mountain peaks were like the tips of the frostbitten lamb. Wow. I don't know what that means.
Whoa! All right, cool.
It's so evocative. Yeah. I like, because we did the epic rap battle. They did George R. R. Martin versus J.R.R. Tolkien, and I always like, and now it hits harder where he says, "We don't need the backstory on every fucking tree branch." And like,
Yes, you do. You do though.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a talent to be able to be that descriptive. Like, he had exactly in mind specifically what the book's like. That's why I would love to be able to see like what he thinks of the movies, like how well they portrayed it. His very specific vision, Because and I've noticed in this book, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of this stuff that I do not remember from the movie.
Yeah, well, you get to see Tom Bombadil, the Barrow-wights.
Bombadil.
Bombadil. Yeah, Bombadil and the Barrow-wights are probably like the biggest things in the early. Well, Fatty Bolger, the whole ruse that Frodo lived in a house towards the edge of the Shire to make his way.
A lot of slurs.
He had to slowly make his way to leave the Shire. It was sort of like a process. Like, it was like a months-long process. Also, Frodo is like in his 20s when Bilbo, like, during Bilbo's whole thing, or he's in his like, or his 30s, 20s, 30s. He's 50 by the time he leaves, right? So he's like, there's a significant amount of time that you don't get in the movie, where Gandalf's like away doing research for like over a decade, basically. And then he comes back and is like, "Oh, hey, what's up? We need to talk now."
Yeah, what's interesting is it's obviously an old, it's like 50s, right? That was originally written.
Yeah, yeah.
There's an excessive use of the word queer, and I just love.
It's a very different meaning.
I love imagining it as the meaning it is now. When, like, you read some of those scenes and like, oh, he was quite queer the way he's acting. Oh, there's some queer folk around here. Oh my God, we won't be having that. Jesus.
It's like, damn, wow.
Jesus Christ.
It's just, wow. It's a lot going on. It's a lot to unpack.
J.R.R.
It's a lot to unpack. Gandalf, I don't know.
Yeah. But it's good. There was some excerpts I meant to take a picture of, because like, wow, because it was like these folks are mighty queer, and we won't let those black people around here, like, they just It was because they're talking about the freaking Black Riders.
The Black Riders, yeah.
But there was one point
Those
where they were just like
blacks,
black people
they're
or
chasing
something. It's
us.
like, it's like,
Those
Jesus
blacks are
Christ.
chasing us down or something.
Jesus Christ, Tolkien. This is stuff they don't tell you
wow.
about. This is stuff they don't put in the movies.
This is the stuff they didn't want you to know about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So, yeah, but my dream is that I'll finish this book very soon, and I'll be able to cram Ready Player 2. And I'm going to try my hardest. Well, no.
It's going to be much easier, lighter reading than The Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah, imagine I'll be able to fly through it. But it is still like 350 pages, something like that, close to that. And so, especially I've gotten such a routine now with playing these games each night. So I really got to be regimented to get my reading done. A few days left. Because I've been getting a bunch of books. So I've been enjoying it. I want to get more into reading. I always do. And last year, I think the only books I really read were the Scholars Challenge. And again, hopefully they'll push me to finish 2 books, and at least they'll guarantee me 2 books. And I want to read more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for the challenge talks for now. We are in the process. We'll soon be in the process of voting for the Next Gen's challenge. I'll see what that'll be. And
we shall see.
We'll have a video for that probably before the next podcast of what we got in the Gen's challenge, what we were assigned, and everything. So,
yeah, we'll see who's participating. We'll see. Try to get another guest on. I always like to try to do that.
But a couple of shitty guests the last couple of times. So hopefully we get a good one next time.
Yeah, horrible.
Blinkum the goat. Now, what I want to see is Blinkum a true man of honor and integrity, a warrior? As he said, a strong implication from his videos with us is that this is the first of a regular appearance in the Gen's Challenge. And
I sure hope he does. He should come back in. Well, because he gets to potentially kill multiple birds with different stones.
That's one of my favorite pastimes. Yeah,
killing many birds with multiple stones.
I love killing birds with stones too.
Killing multiple birds with one stone, because he can do stuff for the other challenges he has for his other various podcasts and things. So
yeah, that's true.
I hope so.
No, we got our challenge crossover as well. So, all right. What else? What else do you want to talk about this evening?
Well, I've rediscovered a childhood classic of mine, and that is Hey Arnold. It's a show that I grew up watching, and it's like one of those shows that's sort of come and gone over the years in terms of like me thinking about in a particular way. I think when like the 90s are all that, or whatever they called it, whatever that was called.
It's not like the Roman Empire for you. You don't just think of Hey Arnold regularly.
No, I do think about the Roman Empire probably once a week though. Just to reference that meme, but they sort of like Hey Arnold sort of came back into the sort of cultural zeitgeist again during that like period of like the channel Teen Nick was like re-airing a bunch of like old 90s Nicktoons again at like a midnight block where they'd be like, hey, we'll have like Rugrats and Doug and Hey Arnold and all these other shows and stuff. They then after I think subsequent from that they finished the story that they sort of like some of the story threads that were sort of introduced in Hey Arnold, which is a very episodic show, by the way. There's not like a through line to the plot, but there were some like story threads that they kind of introduced at various points of the show, and I think they eventually resolved them in like a TV movie, which I still have yet to see. But it just kind of like, I don't know, I just started thinking about it again, and I was like, I should watch this again. It's been like a long time since I've like I don't know if I've seen every episode. I probably have. But as I'm realizing as I'm watching it that like this show means a lot more to me than I think I've ever really given it credit for. I think that I consider this maybe what got me into liking jazz music, at least to a degree. It certainly had an influence on me. The a lot of the background score of Hey Arnold is just like it's perfect. It's just like jazz, R&B. It's so good. And yeah, and watching it again is like really just like reliving. I was like, it's like 1996 through like 2000, like the early 2000s is like when the show was airing. And I was watching it when it was still kind of new, so I was like 7, 8, 9 watching the show. And yeah, I really, really kind of fallen in love with it again. And yeah, I mean, it's been great rediscovering a not really totally forgotten, but like maybe underappreciated until a revisit. At least that's just for me. Like I think the fan base is actually very strong for Hey Arnold in general. Maybe a little too strong in some regards, but yeah, I've really come around to just like really realizing how much of this show that I like watched growing up. Like it was like I would consider it, yeah, probably like one of the favorites that I watched growing up. It's like Doug and Rugrats. I loved Rugrats, but I don't. Maybe I'll go back and watch some of Rugrats again, but I don't feel like a compulsion to go back and rewatch the whole show as I do with Hey Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
So Rugrats is like a cute show that I liked growing up. That was fun.
Rugrats reactions.
But I maybe as for Rugrats, maybe as much of it as I'd watch would probably be up to the second movie, which I was one of the not the first movie, but it's like one of the earlier movies I remember going to see in theaters. So, and I really liked it.
Which one's Rugrats? Rugrats in Paris.
Rugrats in Paris, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen the original Rugrats movie. Like, I don't think I ever saw the whole thing.
No.
I knew it introduced Dill. You know, it's like that's kind of the big thing the movie does, but it's like Dill's also like a nothing character, basically. So, you know, whatever.
How often do you think about All Grown Up?
Like never. I do think about it. There is upon occasion there are some times where like I'll just think about it, be like, wow, why did they make that show? Like I get it was the special that preempted it was extremely good. I will give them credit that. It had me all hyped. My like 8, 9, 10-year-old self or whatever, whenever the special came out, like it was like they all growed up, which was just wow. Yeah, it was just like a one-time thing where it's like the Rugrats were all imagining themselves as if they were all growed up. And like so it was an episode of the show, and then they spun that off to an actual show. And I don't know if that was I'm not sure if that was the goal all along. Maybe it was, I don't know. But I remember really finding that like kind of charming, like having them all sort of think about that. And there was like some like cute wholesome stuff where it's like, oh, even like at least now they can like talk and work out their problems. You know, Angelica's not just a spoiled. And Angelica's not just a spoiled brat. She is still, but like they're able to sort of like work out their problems and in different ways. It's like, oh, so like they'll figure things out when they're all grown up.
Yeah,
and then they release the show.
Yeah, this is all in Angelica's mind though, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but then there was the show all grown up, and
once you turn grown to grown, and he lost.
I try not to think about it too much. I don't even know. Is it good? I don't even know. I don't know what people think about it. I don't know anything about it other than remembering.
I remember dabbling in it, but yeah, I have no idea if it's probably not, right? But
there's only like one specific. There's like I don't even really remember many of the plot lines. I do remember there's like some weird small snippets that I remember. I remember Dill being weird. He's kind of a nutso weirdo, and I remember him saying something about like talking about Van Gogh cutting his ear off. I remember like having a monologue about that one time for some reason. I remember that. I also remember a specific line where they're talking about like some guy asks Kimmy out, and Chaz flips out, and then she's like, well, whatever happened to don't judge a book by its cover? And he goes, well, you see, it's different now because the book is dating my daughter. I think that's kind of a funny line. I actually like that. I was like, oh, that's great. That's about all I remember about the show.
Well, you're deeper in the lore than I am. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey Arnold was never my cartoon of choice. You know, it was always one of those ones where I just knew about it, saw a couple episodes here and there, but never really dove into it. But I always respected the guy. You know, I'm not in the business of yucking anybody's yum.
That football head, you respect him.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing, and I think one of the reasons why I also it's one of the same reasons why I hold Doug in extremely high regard is that they're very they're kind of like laid back in a lot of ways. Like they're not like zany, wild, crazy cartoons. Like SpongeBob, classic SpongeBob is like one of my favorites. Also, very different show, very zany, very wacky.
Yep.
And really, really good comedy writing. Doug and Hey Arnold are a lot more like real world, dealing with the real problems that kids have.
Yeah. More grounded.
Very grounded, very like, and this is something that like, because I've been really getting into the weeds because like I've been really delving back into this like element of my childhood. So learning that Hey Arnold was inspired in a lot of ways by Craig Bartlett's, the creator's love of the Peanuts cartoons, makes so much sense because he's like, I grew up and I loved those, and it was like, wow, these cartoons about like the Charlie Brown Christmas is about like being depressed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like about kids that are like sad, and it's like that's something that's like a lot of cartoons don't really like they don't delve into, they don't go into the weeds about like feelings and like really trying to grapple with like what kids actually go through. They're not just like happy, and they're not just sad, and they're not just mad. It's like they're really kind of delving into the weeds of like what people go through in terms of how they grow up and what they're dealing with growing up. And so like that is just like it's fun to just like kind of re-experience and I don't, some people say like, I've heard some people be like, oh, I hate like coming of age stories, and it's just like, I already did that. I don't want to hear that again. I don't want to be there.
I already came.
Like, to me, there's there's just like a nice added I don't know. There's like a comfort to it in a way that's like, I did deal with this stuff, but it's like it's nice to remember. It's nice to kind of like remember like where you came from, the stuff that you were dealing with at certain periods of time, and like but also mixing in like, oh yeah, like the nostalgia, the good happy vibes of it too. So of being a kid and not having as much responsibility and being able to sit down and watch Hey Arnold and like have a show that's like kind of where I'm at the same time.
And those cartoons kind of age a lot finer than, you know, if you were to watch like an old Nickelodeon show. Sometimes they're a lot harder to get back into, you know, especially
Clarissa Explains It All.
Yeah, especially the creepy, weird stuff that you find along the way. It's like, okay,
the Secret World of Alex Mack.
Let's leave it in the past, the memories. That cartoons are more timeless. There's less of that in there, and more wholesome. I need to revisit some of the classics too.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, what like thinking back, like I was thinking, I just went on kind of more of a monologue, but I was almost thinking of like adding it as like, what are some other like, what would be like a major cartoon that you would think of, like something that you watched growing up that would be like, that you're particularly nostalgic for, that maybe we haven't talked about, or I mean, we've talked about SpongeBob a few times, but because I know that's a pretty big one for you.
SpongeBob is just it's the culture, you know. It's like a part of our youth culture, you know. The entire generation, they can just quote SpongeBob. So that's an easy one. I will say one that's like, I don't think about that often, but it is surprisingly, every time I think about it, I do think about it fondly. That's Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Oh, okay, like,
That one hits. I remember I used to play this like little online game that they had on CartoonNetwork.com for Foster's Home, and it was like you could go on little. I think it was like you could go on little quests and stuff. You know, you go around and like the different imaginary friends might have different things for you to do around the house and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's what I always remember. That finally, I remember the music of that show. And obviously, Courage the Cowardly Dog is one I've always loved for how weird it is, and it just stands apart from all the others. Yeah,
Return the Slab.
There's just so many weird things, and yeah, but Shaolin Showdown is another one.
So Dubs really likes Shaolin Showdown. I don't remember if we talked about that one of the times he was on, but he was a big fan of that.
I was big into the lore, like all the different things. I forget, what are they even called? I forget what they're called. All the different objects they use.
Yeah,
it's such a fun
that was kind of after my time. I think like
yeah.
I think that was a little bit after my time.
Many. I feel like I dabbled in so many different cartoons.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is just like a timeless. Like I can rewatch that as many times as.
That's one I didn't watch until I was older. Only like, early into adulthood, I watched that.
Yeah, that was. I'm glad it came out. Like, does that hit me like in the teenage years, like when I was starting to get into anime for the first time? I'm really happy it came out when it did in my life, because like it's a really good like, it is a really good sort of like. If you're between the ages of like 10 and 16, I would say is like perfect demographic for that show. Obviously, younger kids have watched it and love it, and older adults watch it and love it too. I mean, like my mom really got into it when I watched when I was living at home, and I watched through it a few times, and she would like watching it with me. So, but yeah,
I dabbled in so many between. I feel like I favored Cartoon Network, but I did dabble in Nickelodeon as well. I did watch some Rugrats.
So one cartoon that I've talked about Hey Arnold with some other friends. So my friend Wesley was like, he's like, me and him have talked about this a few times, where it's like, he's like, it's Hey Arnold for him is sort of like, it's kind of like Doug for me, where it was maybe a little too like laid back for him. Mm-hmm. He was always like, he always preferred Recess. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was me. I dabbled in Recess, and I remember really liking it a lot. And I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I think once I finish Hey Arnold, I think I'm going to try to go back and like rewatch Recess, because I feel like I remember that being like a really good show.
Imagine being a kid. Imagine being a kid and only dabbling in Recess. I dabbled.
I dabbled with Recess. But I remember it being very, very funny. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge. It should be on Disney Plus.
We'll
revisit it.
We will.
It should be on Disney Plus theoretically.
Yeah.
So.
I think so. I think I do remember that.
No.
Along the similar lines, I recently watched all the Final Destination movies. All the Final Destination movies. Because there's a new one that's coming out. Again, all these things are coming out within a couple days. This movie's coming out in 2 days. And it's 14 years after the last Final Destination movie came out. Final Destination Bloodlines.
No. Has it really been that long?
Mm-hmm.
2011?
That's right.
It's crazy.
And I remember because I just saw the trailer, and I was like, oh, that looks like a fun movie. And I was like, I didn't realize until the end when they said Final Destination. I was like, oh, I never actually looked into those movies at all. So let me just go watch. They're all on Max. So I just watched them all over the course of like a week and a half. And I don't think even the good ones I don't think are good movies really, but
no,
I really enjoy.
No, they're not. But they're
the
fun.
First three. I really enjoy. The fourth one is horrible, like significantly worse than all the other three. And then the fifth one kind of recovered and is okay, and was a pretty satisfying end. I thought it was like a little wrapping it up, kind of. But I'm interested in the new one now, because the biggest problem I have with those movies, obviously their whole shtick is that there's like the gimmick of a bunch of different outrageous deaths, and that's the fun of it. but a lot of them, the fourth is the worst for this. Is the effects just look so awful, and they age so horribly. But somehow the fourth one looked worse than the first three. I don't know what they were doing with that. They looked super. I don't know.
I think I saw it because I've seen the first parts of the first one, and then I think parts of the fourth one. I remember the fourth one. Yeah, the fourth one I remember being just horrible.
Yeah.
Isn't there like wasn't there a weird thing with the fourth one? Is that like doesn't it sort of like end and then it's like, oh, it's everybody from the first one or something like that? Isn't there some weird wraparound with that? I'm trying
That's
to
the
remember.
fifth one. The fifth one's the wraparound.
Oh, that's the fifth one did that? Oh, okay. Has the wraparound. Okay.
But I'm just interested because obviously we've come a long way in terms of visual effects. So I'm like, will they actually look good now? These deaths, like, not just outrageous, but like really look gnarly. And some of them like look the deaths in the first three movies specifically are some like really like gnarly. There's some really effective ones in there, like oh, and just for the shock factor of it, and obviously the fun. The first three have the most memorable, fun, like accidents in the beginning, where you see everybody die and someone sees a vision of it, and you see everything unravel. It's the second one I think is the one that people remember the most because it has the car with the logs on it, and the logs come breaking off, and I know that's been a very visceral fear for people now. You know,
yeah,
don't want to drive behind a fucking truck with logs on it.
That's what the most recent Red Letter Media video, they actually talked about that in it. They're like, they're like Mike mentions, like not wanting to drive behind like the carriers that have all those cars on it. That's his final destination fear.
Yeah.
And then Jay was like, "Oh, mine's always logs. I never want to drive behind the logs." Because it's like some might come loose,
way.
So
I'm not gonna be the one. Yeah,
I'm gonna be the one where it happens to. I'll keep my distance there,
that because that opening is so strong in the second one that kind of brings it up for me. But the Final Destination 3, like the beginning, is one of the few times where it actually was like scary and creepy to me and effective in that way. All the other ones, I never really felt that. So I have some fondness towards 3 and the Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I think that
love her. She's in that.
She's in that. She's the lead in that.
Oh, so that's awesome.
She's probably the best in terms of that. But so yeah, some order the first 3. 1 is the best, and then it's either I've been saying 1, 3, 2, 5, 4, and so I'm interested where the recent one comes in because it easily could top all of them if it just is effective enough and could actually get some cool deaths because that's all you really ask for in those movies. They're fun, mindless movies. Just enjoy the ride, and they're really stupid. Some stupid writing, and it's fun. But then the fourth one, it's like I couldn't enjoy it. It was like so stupid. It was actually the effects were just that egregiously bad. It's like ridiculous. Yeah.
When did that one come out?
2008. Or 2008. Mm.
Yeah, weird. I wonder why there was a drop off, and maybe the budget was like they didn't have a budget for it or something. Maybe
they went for the wrong kind of kills that are like overtly obvious how bad they look like. And they just didn't care because it's like this Final Destination, baby. You even have this whole like flashy intro where it's like going through like old deaths in the past and like showing like X-rays of them happening. It's like over like flashy intro.
That is something that I remember. So I guess I saw the beginning of that movie.
It's like flashy stuff. Yeah. Like in your face, like whoa, this is hardcore, edgy Final Destination type. And there's like skulls and look at the bones
skulls
breaking.
And death. Yeah, it's like the Mortal Kombat 9 did that. That was the big thing with Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm looking forward to the new one, and I'm probably gonna do a video on Zach Archer TV, probably about like how I watched all the movies recently in a short span of time.
That's fun though. Yeah.
One last thing I wanted to mention There's a YouTube channel I've been enjoying recently. I just want to shout out. It's called Castacalism. It's like cataclysm, but it's Kast.
Cataclysm. Wow, that's a throwback right there. Cataclysm.
Yes, that's right.
I forgot about that. Wow, that's awesome.
Castacalism. I think she's like my age. It's like this 28-year-old streamer, but she's like, she does playthroughs, but she does most of them not on stream. Most of them she does as playthroughs on YouTube, and then she does some on stream, but they're all uploaded. But she's doing she did a lot of like old school RPGs and stuff. Like the one I've been watching is Chrono Trigger, and she's like,
heck yeah.
She's like obviously not very experienced with these games. You can tell. She talks about it, but I think she just I appreciate she's very like thoughtful and like actually just fully gets into the game, and like at the start of all of her playthroughs, if she usually will have the physical copy of it, and she'll like start by unboxing it and go read through the instruction booklet. And so I thought that was fun too. She does that so she has like physical Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo.
Okay. So I just went to her Instagram. Yeah, consider me extremely freaking jealous. Because this isn't just she has Chrono Trigger in box. She has it complete in box with the map and the manual.
We'll go to the first. We'll go to her first episode. And she goes through all of it, opening all of it. It's cool.
So much money. I want that. I want that so bad. Like that's like a crowning jewel would be for my collection. But
I just appreciate it's like a fresh perspective on these old games and just appreciating it. She's appreciating the music and all the different little details, taking her time. She's like, okay, now let me go reference the manual for this. Like, it's cool. And I've only watched a couple episodes. It's like long form content, so if you're into that, obviously it's a time sink. Like it's like 3 hour episodes, sessions that she does. So
it's her first SNES game ever, too. Well, it's not worth playing the rest of them now. You played Peak.
But it's cool because it seems like she does that with all of the games that have like a physical.
That's really cool.
She'll start by opening it, going through it. And she's done like a ton of the Final Fantasy games. That's what I've seen. She's done like the newer ones, and if she played 16, but I think she's going through the older ones too. And she also does a lot of like those story-based games like Life is Strange, Detroit Become Human, Walking Dead. That I haven't been able to watch all of them yet, obviously, because I only just started watching this one, and that's a big time commitment. But I just appreciate it. There's a quality channel, so
I'll have to look into that. All
right, so since the last episode of the Tarqaron Podcast, we've released our Until Dawn 2025 movie review, Super Mario 64 DS review, our Pilot Palette for May 2025, our Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves review, and our Pilot Palette The Source. All right. So we've got also Survivor Token Chains, episode 7, 8, 9, 10. Should be out by now. I believe that's all of them. 10 might come out after this, so at least 7, 8, and 9. All right, so not too many because I don't know. It feels like less videos than last time, but what would be your highlight of the last month of videos you released?
Well, that Token Sheen episode 9, pretty big highlight for sure. That was a lot of fun to watch. Incredible episode of the show. It was very fun. So that was definitely a pretty big highlight for me.
Yep. Mario 64 DS was a good review too. And we got
that was a lot of fun.
Mario Galaxy coming up.
We do. Yeah, I got to put some time into that.
I forgot to. I've got to mention.
You've already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 120 stars in that thing. I got 120 stars. So, I hit the ground
beasted
running. It
through
was like right
Yeah.
after we did a review of Mario 64 DS that night. I started playing.
Literally that night, yeah.
So excited to play it. So that's something I didn't mention. Yeah, Mario Galaxy I've been playing a lot, and then got to 120 stars. I just haven't done the last like grand finale star.
Okay.
And then maybe to fill in the time, maybe I'll dabble in the Luigi and just redoing stars. Who knows?
Yep.
But, so that's a review we'll have coming the end of the month too. That'll be fun. But yeah. So let's read comments. I don't know how many we have. Let me see. Congrats, your channel is 6 today. It's just told me on my Tarqaron.
Damn.
Just turned 6. Like,
We just turned 6 during the recording, huh?
was it literally May 14th? It might have been. Wow.
Yeah, because it was like end of April. We saw. Was it end of May? We saw. I thought it was end of April is when Endgame came out.
Wow, 6 years old.
Oh.
Once I was 6 years old. Yeah, there's not many comments. It's mostly Survivor ones, so I have to see if there's any I can mention.
Well, we got to be a little. It's a little older than 6 because May 5th, 2019 is when we uploaded that Avengers Endgame review.
Okay.
So
it just.
But we are 6. We are currently 6. It's true.
6. On our Survivor Togechi's episode 7 reaction, Rogue Merc said, because I had mentioned Amber. I feel like we were a little harsh on Amber's ranking in the winners tier list. Especially if I was like, if I have her below Bob, she deserves to be above Bob at least. But I don't remember if I do. And he said, yeah, for Amber, she kind of created the meat shield strategy. Even if you think it was accidental, is at the very worst C tier. All right. So I could see it because really the thing is with Amber, she didn't. That's the biggest problem I had with Amber is it felt like accidental. It's not like just the intentionality is the biggest part. Where she goes to the end and most of the votes for her are just against Rob. That's the only problem I really have with placing her too highly. But obviously she went the whole season. She was like never in any sort of danger, and except for the one where she got screwed on the swap and Boston Rob said, "Take care of her if you can." If you can,
yeah.
But But she's like, I mean, she's just chill. She was there with Rob in all the decisions. I mean, he just gets most of the credit. So yeah, I might move her up on my rank. In our Super Mario 64 DS review, Community Poll commented, "I just started it for the first time yesterday. How random." And he said, Do we know why they had to change the movement so much? Why does being on the DS mean you can't walk around normally?"
Well, I think that it's literally because of the D-pad. So you're switching controls from a control stick to a D-pad is gonna just by its very nature is gonna screw the controls around a little bit. You know, if they'd had a circle pad from the get-go, then if they'd had analog control, then you can have that sort of like slow motion movement. But
it's definitely something they could have done better, right? It's like it's definitely wonky the way they translated it, but not ideal.
No.
On our Survivor Togechi's episode 8 reaction, the Dragon Slayer, Pedro Vieira commented, "It always takes me out that they named the merge tribe Forza, which is Italian, not Portuguese, because they couldn't write Forza, the one with the C with the squiggle at the bottom, which is the word in Portuguese. Like, it's just a C with a squiggle at the bottom."
Yeah.
They couldn't do that, apparently.
Is that
I guess that's
is that really the reason?
That's too much. Let's
that's too much. We can't have the funny silly accent thing. We gotta have the which is funny because I had that on Discord when there was a thing for a poll that we're doing on there when I put Tepesh, which for Dracula Tepesh, I was able to put the little squiggles on the T and the T and the S. Yeah, because those are in that name because it's Eastern European. So, but they got all those weird little funny accent things. I don't know.
Chase Ferrier commented on that episode also. He says, Coach comes out in full force, and Tyson plays this perfectly. He puts the whole plan together, but allows Coach to think he did. He also said Joe might be one of the most interesting people in Survivor history. I think he meant least interesting, because he says really nothing wrong with him, but he adds nothing. It always does suck when someone has to go home due to injury, though. Yeah. He's this boring players especially on a cast of like fun personalities.
Eccentric weirdos. Yeah.
Roguemer commented on episode 9 reaction, JT's Aura, also known as Storytime with Coach. He said, bet Alec never thought he'd see a dragon slain on this reality TV game. It is so Coach. It is so Coach that the dragon is just a random dude and not a power player.
That's true. Brendan is like Brendan has like the potential to be an actual power player, but he never really was one.
They were teeing him up with all this exile stuff that he might be schemer, at least.
It's like, oh, he's got the idol or whatever, but it's like he never really was though. It's just a random dude. Yeah.
We said, Rusty said it's truly a legendary Survivor episode. One of Coach's most defining and memorable moments. Your reactions didn't disappoint. All right. Absolutely.
What a wild
there you go.
turn of events.
I think
that freaking episode.
That's it. There's a lot of people just excited about these Token Teens reactions, I think. Enjoying those. Coach is just delivering gold after every episode. Yeah.
Every episode he's in, it's just, come on, show me more. Show me more, Coach.
Absolutely.
Put me in, Coach.
Assistant Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it. The Tarqaron Podcast in the books. All right.
There it is.
We got some definitely stuff on the horizon for sure. I will say, like we said before, Mario Galaxy review at the end of the month. Next week, we can tease it now. We got the live action Lilo and Stitch coming up in a couple weeks from now. So in preparation for that, we're doing the original Lilo and Stitch, reviewing that, and we got
an official review.
The yearly Tarqaron All Stars Survivor Simulation coming up as well. So that's gonna be fun. Do it every year. Quick. Survivor Simulation on BrantSteel.com. With some of the most iconic characters from Tarqaron from the last year. So that's just in the next couple weeks. Got a lot of stuff coming on the horizon, so I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about come next episode. Hopefully I'll start burying you in points in this challenge, the year-long backlog challenge. I'm going to start burying you so that you start sweating. You have to make some big moves.
Well, hey, but the next time we have a podcast, we're going to have a new game console that's out too. Right? Is that coming out? What is it coming out?
June 4th, right? June 5th? Isn't that right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, that's creeping up on me. Wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm able to get that at launch. That's my goal. But
so if you didn't snag a pre-order, apparently there's going to be retailers that are just going to have it for you, which is nice for them because I did pre-order mine. Mine's not shipping day and date.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to get.
I'm out of the drama.
Like 3 days later.
I stayed out of the drama. I'm like Debbie from Survivor Token Cheese. I'm stay out of the drama. Let you guys.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get it like 3 days late. So Boo. I hope everybody has fun playing Mario Kart and getting real good before I can play.
Yeah, I would like to set up some like game nights playing some Mario Kart or whatever. That would be fun. Get some community in there. Great. And again, I hope we could do some knockout tour with this us group. If we could get a big group together, it'd be fun. But
yeah,
either way, yeah, that'll be fun. I didn't even think about that. It's like one of the most like I'm excited for it, but just like haven't even been thinking about it.
I mean, there's a lot. There was a lot that happened all at once with it, and it kind of got exhausting really quickly. The sort of like drama all surrounding it. So easy to have sort of put to the wayside for now.
So yeah, Mario Kart is going to be probably the only game I'll have on that system for some time,
Yeah.
Unless we want to commit here tonight that we will review Welcome Tour.
Bonanza? Oh.
That would be kind of a fun review. Not gonna
That
lie.
would be a funny review.
We're gonna start seeing that pop up on all these game journalists too, aren't we? Here's our Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour review.
Our $10 for this tech demo.
I think we should, and then maybe we can get like something from there in the next Tarqaron All Stars, absolute icon of a game. Right? That would be kind of fun. Yeah, we should try to review Mario Kart World as well. But
it'd be pretty fun.
That's always been one I've had in the back of my mind since we started doing the 3D Marios. That a Mario Kart series would be fun. Also, review all the Mario Karts.
Yeah, so. I don't know how exactly we quantify that. You have to get gold in all cups.
Yeah, you just play it. You just play it enough. You play all of it, all different stuff. But
I don't. The thing is like I don't think I own a copy. I don't own a copy of Double Dash though. I think I have most of the other ones. At least access to most of the other ones. I had
Super Circuit. I don't know if it was one I gave away though. I can't remember because I gave away all my Game Boy Advance games in that gift exchange.
I may have Super Circuit still hanging around. I'm not sure, but I should have it.
How many of these is Super Circuit one of those ones on the Switch online thing? I feel like some of these are available.
On the Game Boy Advance, it should be. If it's not, I'm a little surprised that it's not. Might be.
But that's just an idea. Yeah. But if we review Mario Kart World now, then I don't know if you would. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, Donkey Kong is a couple months after that. I mean, that's what I'm hyped. That's the only thing I'm bummed about. It's like Mario Kart World. I want to have like a single player experience to sink myself into.
Welcome to. We'll sink ourselves really into that.
Deep dive.
Oh,
man, you gotta be able to like tear through that game in no time and have played everything it has to offer within a couple hours. Well, stay tuned for that then. That's something we might have to fit in.
We might have to.
I think we have a pretty packed schedule. We have to make room for Welcome Tour. Welcome in.
Yeah, welcome. Here it is. Be our shortest review.
No, the longest review.
Oh, the longest review. We'll go a deep dive for 3 hours.
Can we get like multiple guests, like a big panel? Everybody in here.
It's like, by the way, guys, you could probably beat the game in the amount of time we've been talking about it. Like,
yeah, there's gonna be so much to sink your teeth into with that, though. It's like, wow, this when you go up to this panel and it says this is how the Joy-Cons work. Wow, that was a moment.
Hit.
That was a moment in that game.
It made me emotional. It made me emotional when that happened.
I haven't forgotten how to use the Joy-Con since.
You hit the C button. That made me blow up inside.
C button for come for me.
Yeah.
And cry.
And cry.
Come and cry, and chat with us. It's game chat. Come and cry. I don't know. It's something there, Nintendo.
Triple C.
You guys in the GC?
The GameCube?
I was thinking just like group chat.
Game chat. Yeah, group chat or game chat.
Like, oh yeah, what do you mean?
You on the GC? I know. What do you think about that chat? What do you think? What do you think? W for GC?
WGC. I don't know. Yeah. Because even the GameCube games that they're going to have at launch, they're not really ones, like I already have them, so it's not like I need to dive into those. But...
Yeah, that was, I think I saw the, like, GameCube controller pre-orders went up, and I was like, I'll get those later. I don't need to worry about that right now. So
it would have been hype if they had Fire Emblem Path of Radiance at launch. I feel like they
at launch would be pretty phenomenal. But
they should have made an effort to do something like that at least. Like, give us a big, like, what are the ones? There was like 2 available at launch. Which ones are they?
Was it F-Zero and?
Or there's like a couple. There's a few of them. Soul Calibur 2, one of them.
Was it? Okay, we gotta look this up so we can get this right.
I think it was the ones they showed each like individually in the beginning. So F-Zero, GX.
So the three, yep, F-Zero, Soul Calibur 2, and Wind Waker. What a
Okay.
weird. Also, another racing game, F-Zero.
Mhm.
Your racing games on the Switch too. Yeah, Soul Calibur 2 is pretty dope. That game's awesome. So
Yeah, so none of them really scratched the itch of like a single player experience that I could
No.
even get to. That's why Fire Emblem would have hit. Like Wind Waker,
Yeah.
I played Wind Waker HD and not too long ago. I don't really need to do that. Love the game. So
Yeah.
Switch 2, yeah, that'll be a big headline. So we'll have Switch 2, updated challenge, a new Gents challenge will be afoot. So much.
there's a lot coming up.
We'll-
coming up in the next month.
I was gonna say, will we have finished the Survivor season by then?
Close to it if we haven't.
3 weeks from now, we'll be finished.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
maybe,
so, yeah.
maybe I forget when we have to squeeze in the podcast because it's not always the same. Exactly a month from now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, thanks for
Might be a
joining
little later
us
than that.
for the Tarqaron Podcast. All right.
Yeah.
And see you next month. And along the way, we have tons of content every week, variety of different stuff. All right. Subscribe to the channel and all that. And take care.